Hello, folks. Today, we're doing a lot of talking about different shell shapes. So I thought I'd give you a little demonstration. It would be a little easier to see what those differences are that we're calling out. So, Mary, you want to kind of zoom in here? So this is a tortoise that we're calling a high-domed tortoise. And this is a tortoise that is flat. You see the difference in that profile? Look how high one is compared to his horizontal length as compared to his vertical length. And you see that as they get older too. Take a look at it this way. You see one is longer and one is rounder. This guy is very flat and round. And if you actually take notice to a couple of the older adults that I have sitting here, this fella here, F13, is much like Tank. Look at that shell shape. You can see that in the background. See, Tank is very wide, and he's not that high. He does have a little bit of that lumpy pyramid. That's not what I'm referring to. I'm talking about the basic shell shape. So for an Aldabra tortoise, he's very wide and round and flat, just like F13. That's what you're going to see. You know, the interesting thing is F13 does not have a nuchal scute, and you wouldn't believe it, but as coincidences go, that's the same case with Tank. No nuchal scute. Here's a good comparison. If you look at, he has no nuchal scute. Now look at Oliver. Look at the size of his nuchal scute. Now this is normal differences in the tortoises. This is not something that's deformed or something like that. This all has to do with, there you get that sun in the right spot, right? This all just has to do with the subtle differences that nature provides, making one person a little bit taller than the next person, or another person a little bit more stocky or whatever. Nature creates those differences to create differences to see which line actually progresses better, does better in that environment. So that's a quick example of a flat tortoise and one that's domed. I hope you like that. I've got some other videos coming, so stay tuned. Thanks, folks. Hello, folks. Just going to use some more examples to show you the differences between the different shell shapes. And here we have F31. And if you look at this tortoise, you see, again, he's another example of being very wide and very flat. And that, of course, would correspond to Tank, which is up here. So you see that wide and flat. Oh, if you back up just a little bit here, this is Cecil. Look at the difference in that shell shape. See, Cecil comes to a point, actually. You know, he's a narrow, very high dome tortoise, as opposed to, look, Tank over here. He's a very wide and a very flat tortoise. So that, by way of example, again, that's N31. Okay, then we have two more here, which is F19 and F39. Look at the difference in the length. Look how long F39 is compared to F19. And he has a little bit more of that, more like Cecil, where he comes to that point there. And this guy is more like Tank in that he's wider. But this is a very typical shape of the Aldabra tortoise. This is what we call just a perfect conformation. He's not domed, he's not flat, he's not peaked. You know, he's just as perfect as he could get. It's just like you look at the AKC for German Shepherds. Males are supposed to be between 24 and 26 inches. Well, you know, that doesn't mean that there's something wrong with your shepherd if he's 23 inches or 27 or 28 inches. It's just that's what AKC says is what a perfect animal is supposed to look like. But all of these little differences are what makes the tortoises interesting. So, you know, there's no absolutely perfect right way for it to be or wrong way for it to be. As long as the tortoises have a great personality and they're healthy and everything, that's really the reason that you choose the tortoises. We also have a lot of double scute tortoises for people that aren't concerned about the aesthetics of the tortoise and maybe how pure they might rank on an AKC scale, but are more interested in the pet, maybe getting a little bit better price. And all those tortoises have great personalities as well. So there's a lot to look for. There's a lot to think about when you're thinking about which tortoises or shell shapes you're thinking about getting. I hope you liked that video, folks. Take care and see you soon.